Hello, dear friends. This is Jeannie from Dollhouse Rescue. Welcome back to my workshop and to my channel. Tonight, I'm going to take a look at some Dollhouse pianos, and we're going to update them just a little bit. I've got an idea I want to try and see if I can make these even a little cuter than they are. First, let's talk about what they look like. These three pianos, of these three, this one is marked Marx. The other two are identical to it, but do not have a maker's mark on it that I can find. And I can tell you that Superior used the same molds that Marx did. However, I believe that these are probably Marx, and they are the harder plastic. If you squeezed them very hard, they would crack. If you dropped it on a hard surface, they would kind of clunk. You'd hear it louder than the soft plastic. So those are Marks, and the other ones that came in the what we call the rumpus room, or like a recreation room, or like a playroom, and those are the ones I believe Marks made that came with the rumpus room. Now these are a little bit smaller. I think they're a little small in scale. They're supposed to be 124 and go with the 124 houses. They always seem small to me, almost more like something like Linus would play in Snoopy or Peanuts. But I do think they were made for a living room. Otherwise, I like to have them like in a playroom or a children's room, because to me they look child-sized. These are both marked Superior. They are also the soft plastic, and I can tell that because you can kind of gently squeeze and those legs will move without cracking. Now you can break those. If you squeeze very hard, you can break those off, but they're a little bit softer plastic. The last one, this one is not marked. It's even a little bit smaller. I think this is more like the size that Allied furniture is, or Cleaware. So it would go well in a smaller house, or again, like in a child's room or a playroom. It's missing a leg too. We're going to see if we can fix that too. But here's my idea. These three pianos, the upright pianos, they have the keys. You probably cannot see, but the keys are defined on there. The black keys are raised up, and then the white keys are a little flatter. So they do have that detail on them. All three of those do. This little tiny black one also has that detail molded right into the plastic. The keys are molded on there just like a real piano. These, however, are not. They're smooth along there. So we're going to handle these a little different. We'll do these second, but I want to do these first. So here's my great idea. We'll see if it works. Oh, and there's one more thing I want to fix on this one. This one has been melted along here, and I've got a blue Sharpie out here. I'm going to try to touch that up, see if that looks better. If not, I might dab a little paint on there. And the problem with this is some of the plastic, the little baby dolls that a lot of times are pink and they're about this big, if they lay against this kind of hard plastic, there will be an interaction between the plastic and it actually can melt it. So I'm not sure if that's what happened here, but it might be. But we're going to try to touch that up with a Sharpie of the right color. This is kind of close to the right color. If that doesn't look right, I might dab a little blue paint on there. But here's my other great idea. I want to try to paint those keys white, just paint them all solid white right along there. And then I want to go back with a black Sharpie and see if I can paint the black keys on there. So that will look more like a real piano. And I'm going to do that with all three of these, including this little black one. So that would be 4. Then we're going to try something different with these. Let's see how this goes. I've already tried to work a little smarter here. I put some masking tape along there. I know it's hard to see because it's blue and the piano's blue. And I put some up here too. And that way I think it will help me to not overpaint. Now let me put some white paint in there. It looks like it's probably going to take 2 coats. I've done 2 coats of paint, and while that was drying, I've gone ahead and put tape on these other 2 Marx pianos, and you can see the tape on here a little better on this yellow because now it's blue against yellow. So I'm going to put a couple of coats of paint on this one, white. This one I've also taped off, and I'll put the white paint on there, and we'll let them dry. Now I'm just using acrylic craft paint. So easy to find, easy to use, easy to wash up. Let me get some white paint on these, and then we'll come back and we'll try some of that keyboard detail, see how it goes. All right, I've got 3 coats of white paint on this one. The other ones have 2 coats and they are currently drying. So let's see if we can get that detail on here of those black keys. Now I was curious, is this set up correctly with the 3 black and then 2 black and then 3? And yes, it is. And I've done a little preliminary efforts on that. And let me show you the markers I have. I've got this big fat black Sharpie like you might use on a poster. And then I've got one of these real skinny ones that you might use if you're trying to sign your name. And that I think is too skinny. And I also have a Marx a lot, which is the same thing. It's a big fat one and it's a different brand. What I wish I had was a black Sharpie that was like this, like pen sized with a medium point on it like that. But although I think I have one somewhere, I don't have it here at my workshop. So we're going to try this big fat one and see how it goes. If we can do it without make too big of a blotch. I've given it a preliminary try. I don't know. I think it's going to work. Let's see kind of how it goes. I'll try a couple here on camera. I think it came out really well. Let's pull that tape off and see. You can see it was a good thing I had that tape on there because up here I got black up on the edge where I don't want it. And hopefully that tape has protected that piano. Let's pull the tape off and just see how this looks. This is like going to be like my big reveal. This is the bottom piece of tape. It did a pretty good job. A little bit of white there that shouldn't be there. Let's take that top piece off and see how it looks. Really cute. I am going to call that a success. Now I'll probably use maybe something like a toothpick and try to get that little bit of white off of there. And I got just a little bit of white over here. We'll get that off. And I think that's a success. Now, because this is acrylic paint and people might want to touch those keys, think they're going to play them, I will probably put a coat of Mod Podge on those tomorrow to help protect that paint. I'll let them dry really good tonight and Mod Podge it tomorrow. Yay! So cute. I'm going to put a little, I'm going to try to dab a little of this blue here on the side, and I'm going to do it right here with you watching me. And, it might not look perfect, but I think it's going to look perfect better than those little gray spots look. So let's just try filling those in a little bit. See if we can make that look a little nicer. And like I said, if we have to, we'll get some blue paint out and actually use blue paint on there. But sometimes these markers work good. And if it looks a little dark or a little much, you can take your paper towel and kind of wipe it back a little bit if it's just a little much. I think it looks better than it did. Now they're kind of blue blobs. Get my paper towel out. That's kind of pretty. I don't know. I think it looks better. I'll probably leave it like that. Really cute. All right, let's get the other ones done. That went so well. Let's try the yellow one. I think that white paint is dry. Let's see how it goes to get those little black keys touched up or defined. All right, the yellow one's painted too. Let's try the reveal. Take the tape off and see how it looks. Now this one, I want you to know, I got a little bit of marker down here on the white where I didn't want it. It wasn't a big concern. I got my white paint out and was able to dab a little white paint over that, and it's just fine. So don't stress. You're not going to have a problem that you're not going to be able to fix if you don't like quite the way it came out. Wow, look how cute that is. Again, I will cover that in Mod Podge when it's good and dry. I've got one more to do. All right, piano number 3. This one even went a little faster. My confidence was up on it. I knew if I made a boo-boo, I could fix it, and it just didn't take very long at all to get those little keys black. Look how cute that came out. Love it. Okay, so I said this was my last one, but that's not true. I've still got that little black piano. And I just put another coat of white on it. But when it's done, we'll update those black keys and I'll show you it. While I'm waiting for that to dry, let's see if we can get that leg replaced. I've got a toothpick here And I'm going to break it right here where it stops tapering. So I'm not going to use any of that tapered part on this. I'm just going to use my fingers and break it. That's pretty good. Then I'm going to measure going up against the bottom of the piano because I'm going to glue it right there in the bottom rather than try to glue here where the leg broke off. I'm going to glue it right there on that flat part of the bottom. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get it the right length, compare it to this other leg, and I'm going to break it off again at the right length. Let's give it just a little bit of a sanding so that will be as flat as possible. And see how I did on the length. If I goofed it up, I've got another toothpick handy, but I think I might have it the right length. Wow, looks pretty good. So it'll glue over here in this corner, and I'm just going to put a fairly large amount of glue on there and stick it in. But first I'm going to use my black fat magic marker, and I'm going to color that black so he'll be the right color. I might use this marker this time. Let's see if this one goes as easy. Those keys are awfully little. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. That one came out pretty good too. I'm pretty happy. All right, I got my little leg painted. All I've got to do is glue it on. So I like to use this 3-in-1 craft glue. And I like it because it sets up, it's tacky, so it kind of holds stuff in place. It sets up pretty quick, but not so quick that you can't make some adjustments. I'm going to fill that little corner up with glue right where I want that leg to be. And I'm going to put some glue. It'll be actually on the bottom of the inside of the piano too, because I want it to be glued both on right there on the tip, on the flat tip, as well as along the side there, so it'll hold in good. And like I said, this glue will set up within, if I hold that in place for about, like 10-15 seconds, it kind of sets up well enough that it'll stay in place there. Of course, you want to let it dry just a little bit longer before you count on it being right. But it gives you a little time to adjust it. If you think you got a little crooked, you can adjust it straight. Then once you have it, it'll kind of hold it in place until it's dry. I'm going to set it down on its lid and let it dry nice. And then, as I said, I will cover that also with Mod Podge. All right, we're down to these last 2 pianos, and it's going to be a different technique. Here's my plan for these pianos. I have taken a picture of a keyboard. Honestly, I cannot remember where I saw that, but I got it on the internet. Took a picture of it, and then I put it on a Word document. I measured how big this area is right here. I measured it with my tape measure, and then I sized it on a Word document to get those, I think, the right size. Let's cut those out and see if they by chance will fit, and if they do, we will glue them on. I've got those cut out. Let's get our glue ready. We'll just put a little dab of glue on there, stick those in place. I've already done a dry fit to make sure the size is about right, and it seems to be pretty good. I'll show you what the dry fit looks like. Like that. We'll just glue them down into place. Then we'll have these 2 done. There you go. That was so easy. I've got 6 pianos now that all have that detail of those black and white keys, just like a real piano. This one I glued a little tiny piece of music on there. I printed that from the internet, and then I copied it, put it on a Word document, and made it small. And I put a little glue so he won't float away. And I had a little Mod Podge on those keys that gives them just a little bit of shine. Maybe can't catch it on the camera, but they have a little bit of shine to them. Plus that paint's protected. There you go. Thanks so much for joining me on this fun little project. This was not hard to do. Doesn't take any particular artistic talent or endeavor. It takes a little bit of patience because it's really small work. So you have to be really little careful when you do it, but it's not difficult. And even that, look at that leg, how nice that leg looks. From a glance, you can't even tell which one was the one that I cut out from a toothpick and replaced, and it's on there pretty sturdy. I love it. Thanks so much for joining me. Remember, as always, you have a friend here in Iowa and a lot of friends in our Facebook group, so I hope you will join us and come back and see what I'm doing next time. I've got a list of fun projects I want to work on. Thanks so much, and please subscribe. I appreciate it.